I was genuine as hell and you ain't won't believe me. I was genuine as hell and you ain't won't believe me. I was genuine as hell and you ain't won't believe me. I was genuine as hell and you ain't won't believe me. Sometimes I wish I wasn't famous. Praises go to my creator. Gangster don't do no complaining. Remember nights when I was hunger painting. Sometimes I fast just to let the maker know I'm thankful. In the hellfire, everything below the ankle. Blow a bed and let my grandmother know I made it. It's pain I feel, crying tears, it ain't no.
Got the hardest job tonight. Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
Last few pounds. Angela, looks like you picked up that bit of weight Jeremy dropped. Could have been a carrot in that dress, but I guess you brought pumpkins back in season tonight. Good thing there's no fairy godmother around you be carting Cinderella off to the ball. What's this? Elijah taking the stage. Wow. Elijah Lewis just slapped the heck out of me.
Don't you ever talk about my wife that way.
Relax, my friend. It was just a joke. I'm a comedian, Elijah. You know how it is. No disrespect, Angela, you're gorgeous.
I said keep my wife's name out your mouth, Corey!
Who participates in a false flag event such as a bombing or mass shooting simulated by the conspirators, usually government or corporate forces, in order to achieve some goal such as justifying increased government surveillance, disarmament of the population, or military action against blamed nations or groups. Crisis actors are claimed in this context to play the part of bystanders or witnesses, emergency response personnel, and, with the aid of stage makeup, wounded victims of the attack. Conspiracy theorists have claimed to have identified crisis actors at incidents including the 2012 Aurora shooting, Boston Marathon bombing, Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, Umpqua Community College shooting, Sydney hostage crisis, November 2015 Paris attacks, and others. Robbie Parker, the father of Sandy Hook shooting victim Emily Parker, after doing a CNN interview.
In this matrix, face the machine, we could taste it. I feel like Cypher in this cipher. An eye for an eye, why should I fight for? I cry. I know that they can come Wi-Fi me goodnight with my iPhone. iPhone's got our eyes gone in the Wizard of Oz zone. There's some wizards in our zone. How long I've known this world is fake. Hollow Earth early days, reptilian pearly gates. Early state of mankind. Maybe these niggas condiment. What condiment and a condiment? They condiment it's economy. Can't catch up to them with condiments. Bad breath where they feeding people all condiments. Stuff them in condominiums. God millennium, then we done y'all was penniums. Processed foods, y'all get penny crumbs. Notice the penny brown. Back turn against the rest of the coin. Abraham, wait. Swine time. Both pigs, killers in this prime time. We the illest feelers when I shine my light to the skyline at the
does not mean that nobody was injured or hurt. A false flag is a mandated, funded, and strategically planned out event in which casualties are sacrificed, actors are hired, and news is propagated. There are several ways to spot a false flag event. When something has immediate national coverage simultaneously on all syndicated networks, or when the news articles come out hours before the event actually happens, when the initial media stories conflict with the official story, and also when there are stories that are not being reported. Whenever there are similar drills had by, or there's a Craigslist ad, and not saying that all victims are fabricated, but I would definitely look into the oddities of certain accounts, and accounts that have been inactive until the day of an event are all private, all the accounts are private, so all those are ways to spot a false.
Thought he was supposed to be dead today.
There's just no question about that. I mean, you have fierce fighting in a number of locations around the country. You mentioned Chernobyl. Russian forces quickly overtaking that area. We understand they are still in control. The other thing that went down today that was of huge importance was Russian paratroopers went into an airfield 15 miles outside of Kyiv, and for a short period of time this afternoon.
I got maced.
You got maced. And what happened? You were trying to go inside?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
How do we dice an onion? Big onion. Look at that. Woo! To the good onion. Good onion is a heavy onion. It's a 6-pound onion. It's also an onion where the onion is put. This is the tip of the onion,
We gotta do something. I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm tired of the moments of silence. When are we?
The company sent out a press release that got picked up by local papers, advertising a, quote, group of actors available nationwide for active shooter drills and mall shooting full-scale exercises. The company called them crisis actors, who would, quote, bring intense realism to simulated mass casualty incidents in public places. Some of them had even performed Shakespeare. The press release might have passed without note, but just a few weeks later, 26 people, 20 of them children, were murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
You have to understand that any frightening event that makes people think that they've lost control will give rise to conspiracy theories.
You are using your lobby and the money behind it and the kids to try to take away my Second Amendment rights. You don't have anything to say for yourself?
According to these conspiracy theories, the bad guys are government agents
now and make a statement. Looks like the family is there, and they're getting ready to come to the microphone. So we'll listen up.
Okay.
So my name's Robbie Parker. My family is one of the families that lost a child yesterday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings here in Connecticut.
Just days after a shooter walked into a grocery store to gun down African American patrons, we have another Sandy Hook on our hands. What are we doing? There have been more mass shootings than days in the year. Our kids are living in fear.
The most evil display of deception and murder we are subjected to today are found in the new phenomenon of mass school shootings. Prior to 1999, they were practically non-existent, but today they have almost become predictable. And if you are able to examine the evidence objectively, without getting emotional, a pattern can be recognized. Former Naval Intelligence Officer turned whistleblower, Milton William Cooper, wrote in his book, Behold a Pale Horse, published in 1991, that the CIA was using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in order to persuade them to open fire on schoolyards, to inflame the anti-gun lobby, and do away with the Second Amendment. This probably sounds outlandishly evil, and it is, but the evidence is there. In the Columbine shootings of 1999, we are told that Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold acted alone. The town of Columbine, Colorado, was created in 1958 for families and employees of the military-industrial complex. Eric and Dylan were arrested a year prior to the shooting and were allegedly sodomized by the arresting officer, which may sound crazy, but a local officer admitted to raping informants, which is a known method of trauma-based mind control. After this January incident, Eric and Dylan were put into a juvenile diversion program and prescribed SSRI drugs known to cause homicidal ideation. During this time, Eric Harris was making online death threats and bomb threats. Local police were aware of this and drafted a search warrant affidavit, but it was ignored. Eric and Dylan threatened revenge for the January incident in their yearbook. They produced a school video about their plans and began openly collecting weapons. All of this while on probation, and nothing was done about it. During the shootings, the police stood outside the building and did nothing, while the sounds of automatic gunfire and explosions continued for hours. In official transcripts, there are over 100 witnesses who saw more than 2 shooters, and more than 40 witnesses who identified the same 2 men in their 30s, one balding and the other with a short military-style haircut. Several witnesses described the same adult male throwing a pipe bomb on the roof of the library, all of them certain that it wasn't Dylan or Eric. And all of this information pertaining to additional shooters has been redacted. The FBI agent in charge of the Columbine investigation had a son who recently attended the school, who shot a student film inside Columbine High 2 years before the shooting about a character wearing a trench coat shooting up the school. Dylan and Eric fantasized about hijacking an airplane and crashing it into a New York City skyscraper in 1999. Are these just strange coincidences or remnants of the Fed's MK Ultra program? An honest investigation into any of the mass school shootings following Columbine will have the same signatures, such as families involved in the military-industrial complex, prescribed SSRIs and other psychotropic drugs, psychological care provided by the state, and associations with law enforcement prior to the shootings. Just like we saw with the retired federal agent in regular communication with the Buffalo gunman in a private Discord chat room. And in the recent Texas school shooting, how is the perpetrator able to afford nearly $5,000 of weaponry? And why did the police stand down while children were slaughtered? We are still allowed to question these things, but for how long? This evil will never stop until the truth is exposed. And unfortunately, most of us are too emotional to see things as they really are.
Supposed to be a man of God, but yet he's told the whole world that 26 people died in his church when nobody died. He's a liar. Let's go, Frank. Let's go polygraph right now. I've got a man in San Antonio.
Comment you just made, knowing my 14-year-old daughter's laying...
You're a liar, Frank. You're a filthy liar, Frank.
You know?
You're a demon, Frank. You should be able to provide the evidence more than anybody on this planet. This guy should be able to provide evidence of a death that happened at this church.
We've had to learn to deal with these sick fuckers that are saying this stuff, that are out there claiming that we're not real people, claiming that we're actors. We don't give a shit what you say. We're not afraid.
It's a horrible thing to think that 17 children got murdered, but it's even more disturbing to think that the government would do something like this and present it as a real event when it's not.
A lot of today's hoaxers are mentally ill, and they think that what they see on the web and TV is just a reality show. And so if it's a reality show, then everything is staged, then everyone is an actor.
This isn't a fucking conspiracy. This is real life, and people are fucking dying.
I got a text from Lauren that said, "Code red, active shooter, I love you, Mom."
I was holding my really close friend Sam Deitch's hand, and I remember something she just kept on saying over and over. "I don't want to be another number. I don't want to be a number. We're going to be another number."
She knew that at least 3 of her friends had died, She wouldn't know for the next 36 hours whether or not another one of her friends died who actually did. Knowing that as a big brother, you can't do anything about that just made me so mad. I figured I would use my speech and debate skills and my journalism skills, I guess you could say, to go out and speak. And my parents didn't want me to go.
I told David, don't go back over there. He disappeared a few minutes, he comes back, he's got the camera, gets on his bike. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to get my story. And he took off.
David Hogg. David Hogg. David Hogg. David Hogg.
David Hogg is here with me now.
When I first started doing interviews, I wasn't like nervous or anything because I've done many interviews before with our own TV program, and I've been doing that for the past like 4 years basically. And I was just pissed off. I wanted to make sure that something like this wouldn't happen again.
My name is Tony Mead, and I am an independent journalist. How I'm related here is that this is in my backyard. Did people die? I don't know. But I don't think that what happened here is a genuine calamity. There's something perpetrated here that defies logic, right? That I think was something done deceitfully to bring about political change. Because this event is so close to home and affected my friends personally, and it would be unfair of me to start talking about how, look closer at this, look closer at that. But I do have certain groups where I'm able to talk about it. I have groups on Facebook of like-minded people like myself where we're able to discuss this, look at the anomalies, and share information.
I go by Side Thorn, and this is Conspiracy Granny. And what we do is we go to these false flag hoaxes and we prove them wrong. This story, they supposedly 26 victims were shot and killed inside the church by a lone gunman. It's a false narrative, fake, never happened.
And we'll show you how that never happened.
Well, what initially happened was that Devin Kelly, a shooter, came into the church property, fired through the walls, then went into the church and shot a whole lot of folks to where 26 passed away and there was 23 survivors. My daughter was in there. I lost Annabelle, and many of my very good friends was in there as well.
We live directly across the street from the church. I was changing my oil and I look over and I see a guy with a AR-15 in full Class 3 body armor shooting at the front of the church. And I actually was shot at 3 times. They hit right there and it came across and it went through right here, and then it went through where I'm remodeling, it went through right here. You know, my son was right here. So he was within about 1.5 feet, 2 feet of my son's head.
All right, guys, we just want to show everybody that there's no fixed bullet holes anywhere. No way was anything replaced. No bullet holes, no nothing.
The issue with Side Thorn started about December 15th. There were several conspiracy theorists that had been coming around, not just him, and trying to deface the memorial, trying to harass people.
Every detail before driving to Buffalo to carry out his terroristic plan. Like you mentioned, Sandra, killing 10 people and injuring 3 others, purposefully targeting black people who were just grocery shopping on a Saturday afternoon. Tonight, we're learning more about his heinous motivation and those who have lost their lives.
He saw the man out of the corner of his eyes.
A mother's worst nightmare. Zanetta Everhart describes the moments her son Zaire saw the alleged shooter while he was helping someone outside the Top supermarket in Buffalo, New York on Saturday.
Zaire was, he was shot in his lower neck.
Luckily, Zaire survived his injuries. The alleged gunman, 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, armed with an AR-15 and a camera for live streaming, took the lives of 10 people, their ages ranging from 32 to 86 years old. The family of 86-year-old Ruth Whitfield were overcome with emotion, standing by civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump at a press conference Monday.
and for her to be taken from us and taken from this world by someone that just full of hate is very hard for us to handle right now.
While families grieve, FBI investigators spend much of Monday afternoon examining bullet holes and placing evidence markers at the scene of the massacre. Handcuffed and barefoot, the suspected shooter appeared in court Saturday to be read his first-degree murder charge, only uttering the words. But the teen had much more to say in a 180-page document posted online. The author of the manifesto calling themselves a white supremacist, often referring to black people as replacers, a reference to the Great Replacement conspiracy theory.
So the idea is that the white race is under threat because elites are trying to replace it.
According to officials, the suspect drove 200 miles from his home, purposely choosing this supermarket because of the density of African Americans living in this community, even taking time to scout the location.
It appears that individual was here back a couple of months ago in early March.
To the scene of the crime.
News 4's Tara Lynch has been at the scene all afternoon and all evening. She can bring us an update now. Tara?
But I've been telling you one story since we first came on the air, and it was about this man here, Grady Lewis. You were in that Tops earlier this afternoon. We're going to get to that story, but you told me just a few moments ago that you actually spoke with the suspect yesterday. He was here. Tell me more about that.
I seen him, and he looked strange in the neighborhood, but he had a genius shirt on, so I wanted to see if he was a genius. And we sat and talked about string theory, critical race theory, beginning of civilization, and he seemed like he was a genius, actually. He said he came up just to see the countryside, and he was going to go out camping. He bought a big a jug of water. He had a little nervous twitch to him. I bought him something to drink, and we sat and talked for about an hour and 45 minutes after seeing the pictures and seeing the blue car that I seen him got into yesterday. So it's a shock right now, and he told me his name was Peyton. So it's a shock.
And we did see a blue car get taken away from this scene just about a half hour or so ago. And you were saying that you were speaking with him on a bench that's located outside of this Tops.
Yes.
That's the bench that earlier today, when I first got here, you were the first person I spoke to. You were telling me that bench is your office.
Yes.
And you usually like to stop and sit there and talk to people that are passing by. Today you didn't stop.
Yes.
So walk me through your afternoon here at the Tops.
Well, I went in there and got me some a juice. And I didn't want to sit there today, so I walked across the street and I opened up my juice. And as I opened up my juice, I heard what I knew wasn't a firecracker. And I looked up and I seen a guy shooting people. Then I seen a security guard run inside, and then I seen him going after him, shooting. And I saw him come back out, and then he had all camouflage on, and glasses and helmet, and then he put the gun to his head, and he dropped it. He took off his gloves, he took off his gun, he put it down, he took off his vest, and then he got on his knees and laid down and put his hands behind his back, and they arrested.
It's called Veteran Overwatch. So this is what I did. I picked random schools. I'm clearly identified, ready, able, prepared. And the school I was gonna go to, I just happened to drive past one school and I see our babies outside playing on recess. Right there. And I'm providing Overwatch. See, there are a lot of veterans who are saying, put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. Do you know how much it cost me to do this? Nothing. And I don't need permission from the Chicago police. I don't need permission from the governor. I don't need permission from fucking no one. I'm licensed to carry. I'm definitely trained and certified. And our babies matter. And I'm providing Overwatch. Now just imagine if I had other people who were willing to donate their time to sit and provide Overwatch for our babies. Y'all talk about, we need more police in school. We need more security. We need more this. We need more that. No, there's free shit that we can do. Free shit. I don't need no one's permission but my own time to sit out here and watch them play and watch for any threats that may be coming up. Free shit. Veteran Overwatch. Veteran Overwatch. I don't give a fuck if I don't get the credit. Get your ass out there and do it. Our babies matter. They matter. Let's go. Don't hear that shit.
So I thought I would show you that, I always carry and I'm a responsible gun owner. And as a responsible gun owner, you're never supposed to leave your weapon unsupervised or out of your immediate vicinity. And the interesting thing is that irresponsible people don't realize that responsible gun owners pretty much know exactly what to do when the time comes. So if I was allowed to have my weapons in an area that allowed me to protect people, including little kids, I would gladly take up that mantle. Not because I'm looking for violence, but because I'm looking for peace. So take away my guns, take away my ability to protect others. Shame on you.
You were listening to in music today that made you say, I've got to put some more stuff out there. You have to do this.
Mainly I sensed a great deal of negativity and entropy in the music. There's a disintegration going on that we really have to address. And our values have been lessened to a great degree. VH1's been pretty cool. They don't show too much craziness on their channel, but other Viacom channels do. So I think that we should address this as a community as to what it's doing to the culture. People can say all they want to, that there's no reason for these kids to listen to music and then go shoot somebody. But, there's something that's triggering these buttons.
Do you feel responsible as an artist
Very
for
much so.
what you're putting? Do you think that other people do?
No, I don't.
You talk about music that's going out there right now. Are you talking about any particular type of music that you don't think is such a positive influence?
Well, it's very obvious when you hear words and lyrics, whether they enlighten or discourage.
Okay, so hip-hop gets slammed a lot. Marilyn Manson gets slammed, Korn gets slammed. A lot of those acts that are, out there putting, is that what we're talking about?
It's not what I'm talking about.
No?
I'm just talking about the truth.
Just general?
Yeah. The truth is that you either are here to enlighten or discourage.
Do you feel like you obviously, you've grown a lot and you've changed since 1982 and the 80s when you were putting out music, but you were always thought of as somebody who was putting out extremely sexual music.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem to you, or are you talking more about the profanity?
Yeah, sexuality is not bad.
No.
I'm talking about sexuality is very spiritual in nature, and that's a God-given gift too. I'm talking about just plain disintegration, where you're not even speaking the truth anymore, and the violent imagery that's permeated the society and our music now. And sampling is getting to the point where it's out of hand too. I mean, pretty soon we'll be sampling the sample that was already sampled.
Somebody was joking, saying Mariah Carey had sampled herself on the latest album. How do you measure your success?
By Oh, who was the rapper? Master P said, "Only God can judge me." There it is. Only God can judge me.